In 1637, the Netherlands was swept into a frenzy over a simple flower, tulips. At first, rare tulip bulbs were just a luxury item, but soon, their prices skyrocketed. Ordinary people joined the speculation, and some even sold their homes to buy a single tulip bulb. Tulips were traded like gold, with prices soaring to unimaginable heights. But then, just as quickly as it began, the bubble burst. Within days, tulip prices collapsed, leaving many bankrupt. The once booming tulip market evaporated, causing chaos in the economy. This was one of the first recorded economic bubbles, showing how greed and speculation can lead to financial disaster. Today, the tulip mania stands as a cautionary tale of how things of beauty can become symbols of economic
Imagine a
madness.
flower so beautiful, so exotic, that people were willing to trade their homes, life savings, and even fortunes just to possess a single bulb. In the early 17th century, the Netherlands experienced one of the first recorded economic bubbles in history. It wasn't gold, silver, or spices driving this madness, it was tulips. This is the story of the Dutch Tulip Mania of 1637. In the early 1600s, the Dutch Republic was at the height of its power. Amsterdam had become a center of international trade, commerce, and finance. But while the Dutch economy thrived on its wealth from overseas trade, another, unexpected commodity was quickly gaining value: tulips. Tulips first arrived in the Netherlands from the Ottoman Empire in the late 1500s, and they immediately captivated the Dutch elite. Their vibrant colors, delicate petals, and rarity made them highly sought after. The most coveted of all were the broken tulips, flowers whose striking streaks of color were caused by a unique viral infection. By the early 1630s, the desire to own tulips spread beyond the aristocracy and into the merchant class. Speculators began to buy and sell tulip bulbs, not for their beauty, but for profit. The price of tulips soared to unimaginable heights. A single bulb could cost as much as a skilled worker's yearly salary. At the height of tulip mania in 1636, a thriving market for tulip contracts emerged. Buyers could purchase the rights to future tulip bulbs, hoping to sell them at a higher price once they bloomed. This futures market drove speculation to even greater extremes. Ordinary citizens, farmers, and tradesmen, people who had never owned a tulip, entered the market, convinced they could make a fortune. Prices for tulip bulbs reached absurd levels. In some cases, a single bulb could be traded for an entire estate. Rare varieties like the Semper Augustus became symbols of status and wealth. The Dutch believed tulips were an unstoppable investment, and so, they traded furiously, expecting profits to keep rising. By 1637, the market had reached a fever pitch. But what goes up must come down. In February of that year, the tulip market suddenly collapsed. Panic set in. The buyers who had paid fortunes for bulbs found themselves with worthless contracts, unable to sell at even a fraction of what they had paid. Many who had invested everything they owned in tulips were financially ruined. The bubble had burst, and the value of tulips plummeted almost overnight. The once glorious flowers became symbols of economic folly. And yet, despite the scale of the collapse, the Dutch economy recovered quickly, largely because only a small segment of society had been affected. Today, tulips remain an important part of Dutch culture and heritage. Every spring, millions of tulips bloom in the Netherlands, attracting visitors from around the world. But the memory of tulip mania serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of speculative bubbles, where greed and fear can drive markets to irrational extremes. The Dutch Tulip Mania of 1637 wasn't just about flowers. It was about human nature. It was about greed, hope, fear, and the desire for wealth. And while the Tulip Mania may seem distant and surreal, its lessons are still relevant today, where speculative markets continue to rise and fall. The Tulip Mania of 1637, one of the earliest economic bubbles, reminds us that even the most beautiful things in life can come with a price. If you enjoyed this exploration of history and culture, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more fascinating stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.